9-year-old Avihe Cheryl Ujaha's mutilated body was found dumped in bushes near Windhoek's Staanvas location 2 days after she went missing from her home in Katutura. In this video, we will tell you the details of this terrible crime. Cheryl Avihe Ujaha was born on January 28, 2009, in Manchester, United Kingdom, and soon moved with her mother back to Katutura, a suburb of Windhoek, Namibia, with her mother when she was only 3 months old. She was described by those who knew her as talkative, strong, smart, always getting high grades in school and able to care for herself despite her young age. Her father lived away from home, still in the United Kingdom, and was scheduled to eventually move to the UK and live with him. On August 26, 2018, Cheryl woke up early that morning to go outside and play with the other neighborhood children. After an hour, she was called back home where she changed, bathed, and ate breakfast for that morning. Cheryl, as mentioned above, was able to care for. She was left home alone while her mother left the home for her job, delivering food she had cooked to her customers. After 4 hours, her mother returned home to see Cheryl missing. She assumed that Cheryl went back outside to play with her friends and decided to rest and get some sleep. When her rest was over, Cheryl still wasn't home, so she headed outside and asked about her to all the neighbors. Only one of them had seen her when she dropped by one of the houses to ask if she could play with her friend. That friend was away that day, so she left. She later saw Cheryl playing with some of the other kids, but beyond that, that was it. Her mother then went back home and began calling her friends, relatives, teachers, and Cheryl's principal, who was also her aunt. Her aunt did call to ask if she could drop by the house to pick up the food herself, and Cheryl did answer but said her mother wasn't home. After this phone call, everyone now grew considered and banded together in an attempt to look for and find Cheryl. As the police said a report couldn't be filed until after 24 hours, they all went to social media to alert the public to Cheryl's disappearance themselves. By August 27th, 24 hours had passed, so the police joined in on the search and likewise appealed to the public for any information that could lead to them finding Cheryl, but to no avail. On August 28th, a man was walking alongside a road from Katutura to Commasdal. During his walk, he stopped once in Staanvas next to a dried riverbed and some bushes. In the bushes, he saw a group of dismembered body parts. At first, he thought they belonged to a burnt doll, but so ran away to call for help. Till more pedestrians arrived, they confirmed what the passerby had seen and called the police. The police arrived and examined the body in much greater detail. The dismembered remains had been mutilated and severed into many different pieces, with a few of them missing. One of the first oddities the police took note of was the lack of any bags, cases, containers, or boxes to carry the body parts in. It was just the remains with nothing else. The area was also very spaced out and open, with the trees spread out far and wide, so the killer likely killed the victim elsewhere and disposed of them in this location. A substance was found on the ground near to the body, and marks were found on the body, and the remains appeared to be wet, indicating they may have been boiled. The missing body parts consisted of both hands, lower arms, 1 foot, ribs, 1 thigh, and the neck. The head was among the remains discovered, and a piece of tape was put over the mouth, but aside from that, the body parts were naked with no clothing found. The remains belonged to a female child with braided hair, Her remains were found only 2 kilometers away from Cheryl's home and relatively fresh, having yet to decompose. News of the discovery soon reached Cheryl's family, who rushed to the area but were turned away by police who were still in the middle of collecting the remains at the time. Her family was finally invited to view the body parts after they were brought to a morgue, and they identified the remains as Cheryl. No signs of forced entry were found at the home, and no neighbors reported any struggles or kidnapping attempts in the street or overall anything out of the ordinary at all, so police believed initially that Cheryl may have known her killer. While the police were pursuing this lead, the general public began to suspect that witchcraft was the motive, more specifically, a muti killing, based on how the body was found. Muti, or ritual killings, are a type of ritual-based killing usually occurring in Africa where a victim, usually a young children, are murdered and dismembered for their body parts, which can be used in traditional healing, or a belief that it will bring good fortune with the killer, usually working on behalf of a client or sponsor. Some countries like Gabon even had sitting senators caught commissioning a muti killing. After the police didn't officially announce any investigations into a muti killing angle, even saying they were mistaken about the body parts being boiled, many Namibian politicians used Cheryl's murder as a reason to advocate for harsher punishments for anyone suspected of being involved in witchcraft-related practices and for the public to be more aware of muti killings. The police questioned a number of people, including Cheryl's friends, acquaintances, and relatives, but ultimately none of them were even suspects or had worthwhile information they could provide to the police. After a lack of any leads from who they questioned, they decided to seek leads elsewhere. First, an award of 110,000 Namibian dollars was offered for anyone who could provide information, but the reward went unclaimed. Secondly, DNA samples were obtained from the scene, so they sent their samples to a lab in South Africa, but the results came back likewise with no leads. Their last idea was as follows. Since Cheryl was found naked and her clothing never recovered, the police published an artist's recreation of Cheryl and the clothes she was wearing and asked members of the public if they saw anyone matching this description. Still, no one came forward. The official investigation stalled after a week with no leads or suspects, and by 2020, at the time of the latest updates, the police announced that they had no leads. And if you found this video insightful, don't hesitate to give it a like and share it with others who might find it interesting. Every like, share, and subscription goes a long way in supporting our channel. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.